All right, let's dive right into one of the absolute biggest headaches in medical billing. You know this one, right? You've seen it a million times. The service is the same, the code is perfect, but the payment totally different depending on the payer. So what gives? Here's a hint. It's not the code. It's always the payer. And that's exactly what we're going to pull back the curtain on today. This isn't just another lecture. We're giving you a strategic preview of how we at Exam Coaches train you to think like a certified professional biller. It's a whole new way of looking at claims, a system built on logic, not just memorization. So first, let's talk about the payer problem itself. I mean, what is the real issue here? Why do so many people studying for the CPB exam get completely tripped up? Well, it usually boils down to a few classic mistakes. You know, things like treating all pairs as if they follow the same rulebook. Spoiler, they don't. Or getting liability and coverage all mixed up. Or maybe not grasping the huge difference between a primary and a supplemental pair. And look, these aren't just little slip-ups. They are fundamental breakdowns in logic that can sink a claim. And here's the absolute truth of it. Most people study by memorizing definitions. But the CPB exam, it doesn't really care what you've memorized. It tests your logic. It wants to know if you can apply the right thinking to the right payer at exactly the right moment. Okay, so let's put this into practice. We're about to jump into the biller's framework. I'm going to fire off a bunch of different payer scenarios, and I want you to pay close attention to how the thinking has to shift for each one. Ready? First step, the foundation, the third-party payer. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, right? It's just the company or entity that pays the bill. Not the patient, not the provider. Seems simple. But this is where the web starts to get tangled. So, a provider sends out a claim. The big question is, who's actually on the hook for the payment? Is it a private insurer? Is it a government plan? To get it right, you've got to map out every potential payer and figure out their exact order of responsibility, which involves, you know what, let's keep going. Okay, let's add another layer to this puzzle, Medigap. Think of it as Medicare's sidekick. It's not the main hero, it's not primary insurance. Its whole job, just like the name says, is to fill in the gaps that original Medicare leaves behind. You know, things like deductibles and coinsurance. All right, so imagine Medicare has paid its share. What happens with the rest of the bill? Naturally, you turn to the Medigap policy. But how much will it actually pay? Well, that all comes down to the plan's specific coordination of benefits logic. A rule book that says exactly, actually, let's stop right there for now. Now, Blue Cross Blue Shield. The most important phrase here is customized approach. A lot of people don't realize that BCBS isn't some single giant company. Nope, it's actually a federation of independent local companies. And trust me, that one structural detail changes everything. So picture this. The claim is coded perfectly. The service was necessary, but denied. What happened? Well, it's because the patient's home plan in, say, Texas, has totally different contract rules than the local plan in Florida where they got care. The problem isn't the code, it's the contract. And to untangle that mess, your first step has to be, let's switch gears to commercial health insurance. This is the stuff most of us are used to, right? The plans you get through your job or maybe buy on your own. The key thing to remember is they're run by private companies, not the government. Okay, classic scenario. 2 patients, same service, same doctor, same day. But patient A walks out with a $50 copay and patient B gets a bill for hundreds of dollars. Why the huge difference? It's all buried in the fine print of their plans. To figure out what a patient really owes, you have to dig into their deductible, their coinsurance, their out-of-pocket max, and... All right, now let's talk about a government payer that serves a very specific and important group, TRICARE. This program is exclusively for our military personnel, active and retired, and their families. And as you can imagine, it operates under its own unique set of rules. So what happens when a service is done without getting the proper pre-authorization from TRICARE? Big problem. Payment can be flat out denied. But then who gets stuck with that bill? The patient? The provider? Well, the answer depends entirely on why it wasn't authorized. And if you're going to appeal that decision, you have to start with... Now, this quote right here is probably the most important concept to grasp when it comes to workers' comp, and it trips up so many people. I want you to burn this into your brain. For a workplace injury, the patient's regular health insurance is completely 100% irrelevant. So let's say it happens. Someone gets hurt at work and the claim accidentally goes to their personal insurance plan. What's the immediate result? Denial. Instant denial. Why? Because the cause of that injury points the finger of financial responsibility directly at the employer's workers' comp insurance. This is a question of liability, not coverage. And to fix that kind of mistake, you have to follow a totally separate and very specific set of steps. Whoa. Okay, we just bounced between a whole bunch of different pairs, right? It might feel a little chaotic, but I promise you, it's not. Now we're going to connect the dots and show you how this all snaps together into one elegant system. Just look at this. It's so simple when you see it laid out. Third-party pairs, they define responsibility. Medigap, it fills the gaps. Blue Cross varies by contract. Commercial plans depends on the plan. TRICARE follows the military structure. And workers' comp, it follows liability. See? Every single one has a core principle, essential logic. And that is the big secret. Inside Exam Coaches, we don't treat these as separate, isolated topics you have to memorize. No way. They are all part of one single, interconnected billing decision system. And once you understand the system, you can solve any billing puzzle they throw at you. So what does the Exam Coaches system actually mean for you as you're getting ready for the CPB exam? It means we're not interested in just teaching you terms to spit back on a test. We train pair logic. We train for genuine billing accuracy. We train you to make the exact kind of real-world claim decisions you'll be making from day one on the job. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. Passing the CPB exam isn't really about memorization. It's proof. It's proof that you know how to make the right billing decision every single time. So what you just saw, that was just a preview. The full framework, the entire system for getting the right answers, that's waiting for you inside.